Welcome back to the Calm Mind channel. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that many of us can relate to: overthinking. We're exploring the fascinating world of an overthinker and how their unique ability to anticipate scenarios can act as a shield against hurt. You see, overthinkers often predict negative outcomes before they happen. So, when someone tries to hurt them, it's not a surprise. They've seen it coming. In fact, you're just proving them right. But what does this mean for the overthinker? And for those around them? Is this predictive ability a blessing or a curse? And how can we navigate these waters without causing or experiencing unnecessary pain? We'll be exploring all these questions and more in today's video. So, whether you're an overthinker yourself or you know someone who is, stick around. This is a conversation you won't want to miss. Let's get started. Understanding overthinking. So, let's start at the very beginning. What exactly is overthinking? Overthinking, as the term suggests, involves thinking too much or for too long about a situation, decision, or problem. It's when your mind gets stuck on a loop, replaying scenarios, exploring possibilities, and often, imagining the worst. Now, we all overthink from time to time. It's a part of being human. But for some people, overthinking is a constant companion. It's like having a radio in your head that's always on, always chattering, and you can't find the off switch. Overthinkers often have a heightened sense of awareness. They're detail-oriented, they notice patterns, and they're always analyzing. This can make them incredibly insightful and perceptive. But it can also lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. Because when you're always thinking, always anticipating, it can be hard to relax and just be in the moment. So, that's a brief overview of what overthinking is. But to truly understand overthinkers, we need to delve a bit deeper into the psychology behind it. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. The overthinker's predictive ability. Now that we've got a grasp on what overthinking is, let's delve into one of the most intriguing aspects of an overthinker's mind: their predictive ability. No, overthinkers aren't psychic. But their constant analysis and anticipation can sometimes make it seem like they are. Overthinkers are always playing out scenarios in their heads. They're considering every possible outcome, every potential response. And often, they're preparing for the worst. This means that when something negative does happen, they've often already seen it coming. They've played out the scenario in their heads, maybe even multiple times. They've felt the hurt, the disappointment, the anger. So when it happens in real life, it's not a shock. It's just confirmation of what they already predicted. But how accurate is this predictive thinking? Well, research shows that while overthinkers are often good at identifying potential problems, they can also fall into the trap of catastrophizing, imagining the worst possible outcome, even when it's unlikely. So while an overthinker's predictions can sometimes be spot on, they can also be skewed by anxiety and fear. It's a delicate balance, and one that we'll explore further in the next section. The double-edged sword of overthinking. Overthinking, as we've seen, can be a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can provide a sense of preparedness and resilience. On the other, it can lead to unnecessary stress and anxiety. Let's break this down. First, the bright side. Overthinkers are often well prepared. They've thought through every scenario, every possible outcome. This can make them incredibly resilient in the face of adversity. They've already mentally rehearsed how they'll handle a situation, which can make them more capable of dealing with it when it actually happens. But then, there's the other side of the coin. Overthinking can lead to a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety. When you're constantly anticipating the worst, it can be hard to enjoy the present. It can also lead to a paralysis by analysis, when you're so caught up in thinking and planning that you struggle to take action. So, overthinking can be both a strength and a weakness. It's a tool that, when used wisely, can help you navigate life's challenges. But when it's unchecked, it can also add unnecessary complications. Understanding this balance is key to understanding overthinkers. And it's also crucial for overthinkers themselves, as they navigate their relationships and interactions with others. The role of others in an overthinker's world. So, we've talked about the overthinker's world from their perspective. But what about the people around them? What role do they play in this intricate dance of anticipation and reaction? When you interact with an overthinker, it's important to remember that they're viewing the world through a different lens. They're constantly analyzing, predicting, preparing. And your actions can either validate their predictions or challenge them. When an overthinker's predictions are validated, when they're hurt in a way they anticipated, it can reinforce their overthinking. It's like they're being told, see? You were right to worry. You were right to prepare for the worst. This can be a difficult cycle to break. But understanding it is the first step towards more compassionate and effective communication. So, how can we interact with overthinkers in a way that minimizes hurt and misunderstanding? Well, it starts with empathy and understanding. Recognize their thought process, validate their feelings, and be patient. Remember, they're not overthinking to be difficult. They're doing it because it's how their mind works. And for the overthinkers watching, remember that not everyone thinks the way you do. Be patient with them too, and don't be afraid to communicate your needs and feelings. Coping mechanisms for overthinkers. Now, let's talk about coping mechanisms. Overthinking can be a tough habit to break, but there are strategies that can help. Firstly, mindfulness and meditation can be incredibly helpful. These practices teach you to focus on the present moment, rather than getting lost in thoughts about the past or future. Another useful strategy is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. This is a type of therapy that helps you identify and change negative thought patterns. It can be particularly effective for overthinkers. Exercise is another great way to manage overthinking. Physical activity can help reduce anxiety and improve mood, making it easier to break out of an overthinking spiral. And finally, don't underestimate the power of a good support network. Talking to friends, family, or a mental health professional can provide a fresh perspective and help you manage your overthinking. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Overthinking can be challenging to manage on your own, and there's no shame in seeking professional support if you need it. Overthinking doesn't have to control your life. With the right tools and support, you can learn to manage it and use it to your advantage. Conclusion. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the world of overthinking, the predictive ability of overthinkers, and the double-edged sword that overthinking can be. We've also discussed the role of others in an overthinker's world and some coping mechanisms that can help manage overthinking. The key takeaway here is understanding. Understanding the way an overthinker's mind works, understanding the impact of our actions on their predictions, and understanding how to navigate this complex landscape with empathy and compassion. Whether you're an overthinker yourself or you know someone who is, I hope this video has given you some insights and tools to better navigate your interactions and relationships. Remember, overthinking isn't a flaw. It's a unique way of experiencing the world. And with understanding and support, it can be managed and even harnessed for good.